Good evening. I am Adventure Argonaut, and this is the annual Argonaut Gaming Awards 2025. So, the second annual Argonaut Gaming Awards. And we are joined here by a very special guest star, my son, little Argonaut. He's sitting on my lap because he didn't want to go to sleep, and so I thought might as well, this is just me talking and he's happily sitting on my lap, so why not? Why wouldn't I let him join? I think all my streams are working, so that's also very nice. So, what are the annual Argonaut Gaming Awards? I will just have some different categories, and I will. Hey, Agent Double Hertz, why was that? Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the applause. Um, but yeah, I will rate the games that I've streamed. So to um, to qualify for the competition, it has to be a game I've streamed this or well the previous year, 2025. So let's go to the first category because I think all my stuff is my preparation is finished. So yeah, the first category is adventure or also investigation kind of games. So the first game is Black Sad. It's about anthropomorphic animal cat detective and investigating murder and stuff. It was a decent enough game, like bit janky technically speaking, but there was one weird thing. It's about like it also tried to make social commentary because our protagonist here is black and also this gorilla is black, and it's somehow like relating to black people in real life and doesn't make sense when they're anthropomorphic animals. Yeah, investigate game. Yeah, that game was decent. It was decent, but it had this weird social commentary stuff about it. Like, I think it would make more sense if you want to make some commentary about, racism or whatever to have, like, I don't know, the llama supremacists or the ostracized ostriches. But yeah, that's a decent game. Then there was Call of Cthulhu, a horror game, and yeah, it's good. There's no really horrific sights going on here because I don't want my son to be witnessing Cthulhu just yet. But anyway, this game it's from Cyanide, right? Yes, Cyanide Studio, and I really dislike the studio because of what they did with Blood Bowl. But still, this game was pretty good. Like it's a bit janky. Like it felt like it might break apart at any point, but like mechanically, I guess it's not very complicated. Like you have some skill points for some or like different skills, but they they don't matter that much. But I did like the atmosphere and all that stuff, so it was a surprisingly good game as well. Then we have Flight of the Amazon Queen. This is from the mid 90s, like during towards the end of the golden era of adventure games, and this guy is a pilot. He crash lands in Amazon, trying to bring some singer there and stuff, and it's a pretty good game, but nothing like I guess the like just decent adventure game, but nothing like groundbreaking or something like truly atmospheric or anything. uh I liked Call of Cthulhu more than the first time I saw it. You mean when like when you watch my stream or what? Or well, maybe it's more fun when you don't have to play it because there was that one scene where you have to or escape from the dimensional shambler or something, and that was a bit wonky. I saw it at a friend's place. Okay, okay. All right. But let's see. Let's go to the next game. That's Sovereign Syndicate. So this is like a fantasy game set in an alternative future or alternative past with, also anthropomorphic animals and magic and fantasy stuff, like a Victorian England's kind of stuff. And you control like three different characters: a minotaur, a lady of the night, and some dwarf hunter, and also his robot friend at in few points. Like maybe should say that it was decent, but maybe it had too like more ambition than like it wrote maybe checks that the body couldn't cash, but decent game. But I guess I feel like thinking of it, like I feel like I left me wanting something more. But all right, next one is Star Trek: The Next Generation, a Final Unity. So that's a like as an adventure game, it's decent. Like the puzzles are mostly reasonable. A bit tedious at times, but that's also from the mid '90s, so that's to be expected. But like nothing too moon logic, nothing too egregious. So it's and Star Trek wise, that's a pretty good game. It's just that there are those space battles. The space battles really suck, and the game would be better without them. But at least they don't ruin the whole experience. They're not that like that frequent or anything, and just needs a bit of trial and error basically to get past them. And then there's Discworld. Um, so I think that this is one of the funniest video games I've ever played. Like because the protagonist here, Rincewind, is played by Eric Idle from Monty Python, and I think there's other British comedians in it as well. And the beginning of the game is really strong because you just go around the city of Ankh-Morpork. Of course, it's based on Terry Pratchett's novels, so you go around the city talking to all these funny people and laughing your ass off. But it's just the ending is a bit of a letdown because like there's a huge like areas, like many different locations, and you have so many different items, and the logic with the puzzles isn't the most straightforward either, so that can be a bit of a hassle. But still, I think it's a classic regardless of its flaws. And also there was a bug at the end that I couldn't even finish the game. Okay, let's see the next one. Then it's Darkness Within. Both Darkness Within 1 and 2, I just put them together in the single game. So this is a Lovecraftian investigation game about former detective who tries to find Loth Nolder. Oh, now my son is getting bored and he's pressing buttons and stuff. All right, now everything looks okay. Let's get this there then. All right. So yeah, it's very atmospheric, and like occasionally there's some pixel hunt problems and stuff, but it was quite enjoyable. But yeah, you're in pursuit of Loth Nolder, another detective, or you're a former police detective and he's a private detective, and then you find out stuff about your family and all that stuff. But yeah, it's pretty good game. And the last one, I think, of the adventure games, but not least, is Tantei Jinguji Saburo Ashes and Diamonds. It's a Japanese visual novel investigation game that's surprisingly like down to earth and realistic. That I was expecting more like some, sordid murder mystery stuff, but no, this is actually like you could almost imagine something like this being an actual case, and it's not too over the top, and but it's also very Japanese that in the end, like even though some people seem like they're a-holes, they sort of reveal their point of view and stuff. But yeah, a decent game. But I guess those I don't make it sound like it's the most exciting game out there, because that's true, it's not, but it's still not bad. All right. So out of these games, which one did I like the best? Well, it's there's no clear winner here, because I think most of these games are pretty decent, and I wouldn't blame anybody for making a different decision. And like um, so I don't know how to um, like make it make it sound exciting. So let's just say the winner is Discworld, because like despite the ending being a bit of a letdown, and it's a bit too hard. It's just some of the puzzles, there's so many locations and objects, and the logic isn't there always, but still it's just the humor that caught me. Like it is that's one thing that you go like. Another thing is the investigation of the atmosphere that I like about adventure games, but also the humor. If it's good, it's good, and usually humorous games aren't that, like the humor in games isn't that good, but Discworld certainly manages it for me. Of course, like Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners, they were pretty good too, and or Final Unity even, but that's not the winner because of these space battles. But anyway, let's move to the next category. So that's horror, spooky, scary games. So let's go look at spooky, scary games. Let's try not to traumatize my son. So the first one is Cyclopean. That's an actual new game released last year. This Delver RPG. And of course, I should point out that when it's about horror games, like the horror aspect is going to be important. So as a horror game, like as a brief, like short RPG, the game was pretty good. But like as a horror game, it's very atmospheric, like exploring lost cities and tombs and stuff. So that's pretty good. But I don't know if it was that scary in that sense. But I don't think a horror game has to be scary, because many of them really aren't. Like the fear usually comes from crappy controls and stuff. Okay, next one is Grizzly Man. So that's a very short sort of visual novel kind of pixel art game with really annoying mini games, such as the one depicted here. So like the story isn't anything to write home about. The mini games are awful, but the pixel art was great. So I do hope that the artist of this game makes something else. Let's see if we can show something that's not too gruesome here. Oh, glasses, eyes. Yes. Okay. See, I like the pixel art. It's very nice. And then there's the Lurking Horror. This is a text-based horror adventure, Lovecraftian Commodore 64 adventure from the 80s. And like so there's no graphics, it's only text, but technically, like maybe it's actually superior to many modern games, like the controls for how you operate the elevator and stuff. Like some of that stuff is simulated surprisingly well. Like of course it's very cryptic also. Like if you don't have a walkthrough, it's very can be difficult, but it's surprisingly good. But yeah, like I guess the experience would be so different if you were in the 80s without a walkthrough or anything and trying to figure out everything by yourself. I wonder how many people actually could finish it. Then there's Forbidden Forest. Oh, this is scary game. This is from Commodore 64 as well, and this was made in 1983. So that taken into account, I think it's like technically like quite a marvel. Like I guess it's not as scary as it was for me when I was a kid, but still, it's surprisingly good after all these years, after more than 40 years. And then it's Hyaku Monogatari, Honto ni atta kowai hanashi. So like 100 stories, scary stories that really happened. So, and this isn't so much a game, but it's like 100 candles, and each candle has a story that you choose, some sort of a horror story. Some are really short, some are longer, and lots of sleep paralysis stuff. It's it's interesting, but I guess at times it could get a bit tedious, and like yeah, you just basically read text in Japanese. So that's how it was. So all right, so which one is the best horror game from these? Oh yeah, and I forgot to say I am back in Hong Kong. But anyways, um, so of these, which is the creepiest, darkest, scariest game? Let's see. Do. Is Darkness Within. Like it's really close between Call of Cthulhu and Darkness Within. I think both of them were pretty good in that respect, but I don't know. Maybe there was just more of an like I don't know indie feel to Darkness Within that made me prefer it more. I think. Oh, now our special guest is getting bored, and he got onto the floor to read a book. I don't know if you can hear that Christmas jingle from the book. The winner is Darkness Within. All right, let's move to another category. Action. We won't have many games in this category, but uh, still, I thought I should have it as a category just for fun. All right, so the first action game is we go back to Forbidden Forest. Did I say Forbidden Forest? Did I say the name? I don't know, but this is the Forbidden Forest, the 80s Commodore 64 game. So yeah, it's as an action game, like it was surprisingly fun after all these years. Like, of course, there's some mechanics that are a bit obtuse and stuff, but yeah, it's surprisingly good. And then there's another one is Ziggurat 2, which is a first-person shooter, a roguelike kind of game where you unlock a bunch of characters, get lots of spells and stuff, and weapons. So yeah, these are the candidates for the action game. So which one is the winner? Oh, surprise! It's Ziggurat 2. Like I, I guess it would have been, retro edgy to choose Forbidden Forest, but no, I liked Ziggurat 2, so was it wasn't very difficult to win this category, but hey, it was the thing, so it was there. All right, next one is RPG. There's quite a few RPGs here. So let's. Oh! No, no, no! My son is looking at the like the power cords and stuff, he might switch off the internet or something if I don't stop him. Okay. So let's see. First one is Mars Warlogs. It's from the same people who made Greedfall. This is an older game, and you can notice the similarity because I played Greedfall first, but it's a sort of janky action RPG with some party member following you. Takes place on Mars, even though it's mostly in, tightly knit streets and rusty metal, and I like the Mars look. That's, it wasn't developed by this game, but it's sort of shared by many. But it's, Euro junk and surprisingly enjoyable. Then it's 3076, block action RPG. This is procedurally generated RPG. Looks like Minecraft, but crappier, and it's funny, but uh, like fun to try, but nothing too exciting. I'd had this in my Steam collection for a decade or something, and I finally tried it. Okay, then there's Black Book. So you're a young woman in 19th century Russia who wants to become a witch to resurrect her dead boyfriend, and the combat is like card based, and like the atmosphere and the all that's really good, but the gameplay with the card battles, that's quite meh. Like it's functional but not that exciting. Then Avowed, the woke RPG, that's, I thought it was surprisingly good. Like, of course, my expectations were low going into it, and developers did say some um, disparaging stuff about white people and stuff. So I wouldn't want to support the company or the developers, but like, just as a game, I did like. The truth is, I did end up enjoying it, even though there were certainly issues in the game, but like I was but going into the game expecting it to be absolute garbage or a buggy mess, but like none of the bugs that I encountered were that serious, and it was, fun, surprisingly. Persona 1 is my first um, like proper Argospective review that I made on Persona 1, and in that I said that I asked if it's really worth it playing today because it was made 30 years ago, the first Persona game, and I said it's not worth it. But now it's like maybe I was a bit too harsh. Like, it's not great in modern, from like a modern perspective, but like it's not like it's garbage or anything, but it's like maybe it's just because there are many others, but it certainly has its own atmosphere and stuff. It's like mood. Just looking at this, I do feel, it sort of takes me back to when I played it, and it feels like an eternity right now. And then there's Operation Abyss, this near future dungeon crawl JRPG where you first investigate missing schoolgirls that creepy cult has taken away, and all that stuff. And a party of 6 members, you can generate them, and that's fairly solid. There was a really annoying bit halfway through that you have to. There's a level cap at that point, which really sucked. And then the sequel is Operation Babel. Did I? I should stop the animations. Operation Babel is the sequel, and most people seem to prefer the sequel, but I like the first one more. So I guess I'm revealing that this won't be winning the award. But still, it's not like it's much worse than the first one. It's just the story I didn't like in this one. Time travel crap and stuff. That's not well made. Then there's Jeanne d'Arc. It's Joan of Arc, uh, tactics RPG, Japanese. So like the premise is great, but the game, it has this annoying turn limit here in each mission that sometimes got really on my nerves, and the characters behave like complete idiots most of the time in the story. So yeah, I made a video saying that why it's a bad game. So I guess that's also spoilers. It's not the winner of this category. Um, okay, and the last RPG is Shadowrun Dragonfall. So it's the second in the Shadowrun trilogy, and this one takes place in Berlin, and the latest game that I've streamed, and it's decent, but still not my favorite in the series, certainly. Like, cyberpunk with magic and fantasy races, and it works surprisingly well. But of course, it's an old tabletop RPG originally. All right, so let's go see which one is the winner here. So, which one of these RPGs did I pick? Like, also, there wasn't a clear winner either. It was sort of like none of them was truly great, I guess. Like each game had their distinct flaws. But anyway, let's go see the winner. Trum, 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 trum. It's I don't know if you can see, but it's Operation Abyss. I chose the JRPG because I guess like overall my memories of it is more most solid of proper adventure of leveling up, saving the world, doing stuff. That's how I felt about it. Okay, then strategy. So let's see what sort of strategy games I played this year. I or last year I played surprisingly many, because previous year there weren't that many. So Crusader Kings 3. I've spent many hours, especially with Crusader Kings 2 back in the day, and also, few hundred at least with Crusader Kings 3. That's, pretty fun game, but I didn't have a good time in this campaign, and maybe it's because the mechanics are a bit different, because Paradox keeps updating the mechanics and bringing new bugs and taking on away old and maybe beneficial bugs and stuff. So it did. I didn't enjoy my play with this at that time, but in previous times I have. Oh, and we have somebody here pooping, I believe. I'll be right back. Yes, this has become another poop stream. My son is pooping, so let's try to uh, go fast, and because I'm not gonna change the diaper immediately anyway, he might poop more. But okay, then there's Galaxy Pass Station. So this is a bureaucracy and up in space where you have to check people's passports, like papers, please, and also you build a space station, and it was surprisingly fun. It's a sort of light-hearted, like strategy management romp, and yeah, like sort of light and simple, but fun. There's Crying Suns, which is sort of roguelite tactic space strategy game, sort of like FTL in some respects, but like the combat is different. But and the pixel art was pretty nice in the game, but it's the writing that was bad in my opinion. It was like it didn't take itself seriously at all. It's stupid millennial humor as they call it, and didn't like that aspect. And then there's Stellar Monarch. So you're the emperor of a space empire, and you have to manage it. And it's also a bit simplistic. And the idea, I guess, originally was that you're not expected to micromanage, but in the end, I did have to start micromanaging my fleet quite a lot. But this, despite that, it wasn't too bad. It was surprisingly enjoyable. And my lovely empress. I never remember to close this. My lovely empress is in this pseudo ancient China, like you're trying to resurrect your dead wife and sacrificing people to your monster waifus and stuff. And it's a decent game. Nothing, and there's like different kind of endings as well. And I got only one. But like I thought maybe I wanna try some other endings, but I haven't touched the game since, so I guess I'm not that excited about it, but not a bad game certainly. Okay, so let's go back to see what the winner is. What is the winner of our strategy games? It's Stellar Monarch. Like, overall, maybe I would choose Crusader Kings 3, but like based on just my experience with the game last year, it wasn't such a good experience. And Stellar Monarch is, it just was a more positive experience. And also, I considered Galaxy Pass Station since that was also enjoyable. But I went with Stellar Monarch. And then I have a bit different kind of category that's magical, like game where magic is like very like an important part of the game. It's not just doesn't mean like just a random RPG with some sort of um, like a wizard class or something. It's like basically you have to be. It's like has to be something deeper to do with magic. So the first one is Ziggurat, and yeah, Ziggurat. Like okay, it's very actiony, like you kind of magic, but it is you're a mage. All of the classes basically are mages of some sort. Okay, and then the next game is Discworld. Discworld, well, Rincewind, the protagonist, is a wizard, but unfortunately, he's a really bad wizard who can hardly cast any spells. So he's doesn't well he qualifies for the category, but he won't be winning it in the magic category though. And then the third one is, where is it? Black Book. Black Book. So the Russia card game, magic game. This is also like, yeah, you also deal with demons and stuff. So that's very appropriate to magic as well. But all right, let's see which one of these is the winner. These are the only ones that really qualified for the magic or magical category. So, and Ziggurat again. So Ziggurat has won twice. Wow. So yeah, it's I guess it's because well, I didn't like the magic system or the card system so much in Black Book, and Discworld doesn't have much magic when it comes to the protagonist, so Ziggurat is the natural choice, basically. Okay, then historical. Which one is like the atmosphere is the most historically accurate and so forth? So first, let's see. Uh, Crusader Kings 3. Well, that's very. It does feel like you're playing part of history, so it's very good in that respect. Um, but if the game doesn't piss you off, then the second one is Jeanne d'Arc. Well, Jeanne d'Arc, it's based in the Hundred Years' War between England and France, but it's also very, as you can see, has heavy fantasy elements like monsters and magic and stuff. So it's not very historical, and something like Sovereign Syndicate doesn't really qualify as history because I think it's more like there's a slight difference between this game and that Sovereign Syndicate is inspired by history, and this is at least somehow you take actual history and um, alter it to suit your story or something. But anyways, then the next one is Black Book, the Russian game. So this is very. I think the atmosphere of the game was great, and I still wonder, like, I think they made some other games, like if they managed to capture the same kind of atmosphere in their other games, because I think it would have been better maybe as a point and click adventure game or something. Because I did like, and also like there's some really nice folk music in the game as well. Um, so let's see. Go back and see which one is the winner. Bloom, 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 bloom. It's Black Book. Like, I guess Black Book wins with the unique vibe of the game, and that was, something I really appreciated, even though, like, overall the game was, you know, slightly mediocre, but like the atmosphere, it showed promise in that respect. Okay, then sci-fi. This is the last category. So sci-fi. Uh, so and also here, like we are looking at sci-fi, is that it has to be like the mood of transporting you to another, well, basically other time with something that generate making the mood of being in a interesting sci-fi setting. So first one is Operation Abyss. You're in near future Tokyo, doing stuff there with some blood code technology and stuff. And then is, of course, well, Operation Babel, the sequel, which is very similar in that respect. And what else do we have? Oh, we have Mars Warlogs. So you're on Mars. Yeah, the sci-fi atmosphere is pretty good there as well. Not, I would say it's a very strong contestant in this category. Then there is Star Trek: The Next Generation Final Unity, with very strong Star Trek vibes as well, and many sci-fi games last year. And Galaxy Pass Station is also very sci-fi, but of course this is more cartoonish, not like like a realistic or believable setting. and Crying Sons. Well, no, it's visually it has something to it. It has some ideas, but like it's just the writing I think ruins it from making it really believable sci-fi setting. And then there's Stellar Monarch as well, which well you're basically looking at the map and stuff. So well, I guess this isn't the strongest sci-fi feel of this all of these games. But okay, let's go see which one is the winner. Which one is the winner of the sci-fi and the last winner of the night? It's Star Trek Final Unity. Even though, like, it didn't win the adventure game category because of the combat, but like as a science fiction experience, as a fan of science fiction, I did enjoy it, and it did feel like playing an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, which was nice. So here are these are our winners that I just revealed. Maybe I should have gathered them all together, but I'm too lazy. So thanks for watching, and I did consider like should I choose game of the year, the best game from all of these, but it's difficult from take a game from different categories, and especially since none of the games really stand out. Like when I look at the list of all these games, like none of them stand out as to be truly like the best one that are like truly great, because all of them, like most of them I liked, but they still have their very strong flaws, so it's difficult to say which would be the best one. Like I think last year I played a lot of interesting games, but not so many great games. Like it's nothing that I would call like a unquestioned classic or something. Like of course, like well, Discworld maybe if you look at it from a 90s perspective, it's certainly, but it has many of the issues of 90s adventure games as well. Like the puzzles are really incomprehensible at times, and but yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for showing up, and special thanks for Angel Double Hertz. I think you showed up live in my previous AAGA stream as well, my annual Argonaut Gaming Awards as well, and I appreciate that. And well, tomorrow is Tuesday, so it's gonna be Tuesday News Day, and then have to see what sort of shenanigans I will be doing next. Well, I am working on a sort of a movie review as well. There's one movie I want to review because I have stuff to say about it, but what it is still going to be a surprise. I'm sure everybody's waiting with bated breath. But yeah, I think I have to go change a diaper now. So thanks for watching. Bye bye. I am Adventure Argonaut. Bleh.